I'm sharing this from Zoom, so there's a little delay of getting over to YouTube, so I'm just gonna check it out. All right, let's jump in. Okay, I'm singing that song because extra points if you know who sings that song without me singing any lyrics. I'm not singing all of the lights, because there's like all of the lights in my glasses. It's how that song came to me. There's also all the shoes in the background. But I'm kind of feeling this color. So I'm not going to what do you call it? Like blur my background because I'm liking all this color. Generally when people like facilitate, I'm on yeah, you're good to go. Mother's just mowing the lawn, same time as I'm doing this video. And I'm like, no, you're all good. Cool. So in this video, I'm going to take you through these rites of passage to living your design for human design. Oh, and welcome to my little library of my library of learning. So speaking of living our designs, for me, I need to make sure that I'm living and I'm kind of expressing me living my design, me living in my correctness and my truth. And so when I show up or out on social media, that is about me living my design, but I still want to teach and guide as a projector and actually share the knowledge of how I've been able to create ways to operate and communicate and move in the world as my unique self. So welcome to my library of learning here on YouTube, where I'll be sharing trainings, and those of you that are here for it will find them and jump deep head first down a rabbit hole, just like I did when I was jumping in and learning about my design. So in this video, I want to go through the rites of passage to living your design. Living your design is a phrase that a lot of guides, analysts, teachers of human design, and other modalities that support uniqueness, like another one that I am a guide for is Gene Keys. So these modalities, human design and Gene Keys, are special to me because they advocate for uniqueness and understanding our uniqueness and doing things how we're uniquely designed, not just doing them the way that we see them being done by others. And I'm a big stand for that, because if we don't have, if we have systems that are made easy because mass people can do them, then you've got a whole lot of people just either, acting numberlessly and just doing what they're told. And that's a shame, because then potential is being lost. Or just doing what they've always done, which is again a shame, because potential and purpose is being lost. And I'm like, nah, surely we didn't come here to live like that. So the reason why I am a stand for these modalities is because they advocate for and encourage us knowing our unique potential and our unique purposes. And that's exciting, because that's what we came here to do. Now, is that how like the world works, like wanting us to be in our full unique expression? No, because that's not really how systems work, because it makes it hard for systems to work, because it kind of needs to be like one shoe fits all of humanity, right? And so when that doesn't work, it's like, oh, well, we've got one shoe for this and one shoe for that and one shoe for that and one shoe for that and one shoe for that. And at the moment, I feel like consciousness, like humanity is gearing up to get to a place where we can all be in our uniqueness, but and for there to be acceptance for that. Anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole, so I'm just going to wind it back up and get into what I came to get into, which is, if you are looking at your human design, there are three main phases that you need to pass through in order to like embody, live, change your life in a way that you are now living in alignment with your unique design. Okay, so I'm calling these rites of passage for now until I find a better word, because really that's what it comes down to. It's like a rite of passage, and we're going to look at that in a moment. So this video is useful for you to understand what you need to go through in order to live your design. So I'm just going to pull up some visuals. I'm going to pull up some visuals so that we've got some visuals for you to follow along with. Bear with me. Okay. Why do I not know how to do this today? Yep. All of the light. Okay, let's go. All right. So I did a bit of pre-drawing for us just so we can roll into it. But here's what I want to talk about in terms of what we have to traverse through, what we have to move through in order to really live our design. Okay. Now, and I'm going to use this little analogy, right, as we go through. And why this is important, this training, is because you can't skip these rites of passage. It's like anything. You have to go through the rightful steps to be able to achieve and attain and actualize, in this case, the result. And that's like anything. And so I want to first highlight the misconception or the illusion or the mistake that a lot of people make in approaching this knowledge, one, and then two, like show you how to actually go about approaching this knowledge. So in my country, where I grew up in Aotearoa, New Zealand, there is a bear. Now, I was about to tell a big fat lie then. No, it's not a lie. I'm not a big beer drinker. Actually, I'm not a beer drinker at all, unless the alcohol runs out. Then I can quite quickly switch to being a beer drinker. Anyway, let's stay focused. In my country, there's this beer called Tui, okay? Predominantly drunken down in the southern regions of Aotearoa, like not the South Island, but the southern regions of the North Island. It's called Tui. And everywhere you will see down in these regions, billboards, you could say, like advertisement boards for this beer Tui. And if you know where I'm going with this, but essentially every billboard or every advertisement you'd see is a statement. So they'll have a statement like above. So statement, like the sky is green. It's not, it's way funnier than that, but the statement would be something like the sky is green, and underneath that statement every time is yeah, right. Okay, so statement, the sky is green. That's not a funny one, but they're generally funny statements. And then directly underneath that is always yeah, right. So I'll give you another example that's funny, like my man loves to fold the washing every day. Underneath, that's the statement. Underneath that, yeah, right. Okay, you get it? Or my wife like never moans. Directly underneath that, yeah, right. So these are these billboards for this beer all over town. Okay, And that's the toy, like that's the toy brand. Yeah, right. Now, I'm just gonna pop that here. Right here. And right here. Now, a lot of people approach human design, gene keys, any modality that offers to give insight into who someone is. People love this shit, right? But the way that they approach these, these uniqueness modalities, is a little bit like wanting to know. So awareness is like wanting to know, right? Get the knowledge, and like sit in a reading, sit on some videos, scroll Insta, get the knowledge, get the knowing, and then come straight down to actualizing. Meaning, in other words for this could be alchemizing. If you're like, Jade, that did not help with clarification at all. A lot of people seek to use these modalities to monetize, to make more money, right? It's essentially to create, right? To create a new reality. So a lot of people go into get the knowledge, become aware, so that they can create, actualize, alchemize, and monetize. Now, everyone's path is their path. There's no right or wrong, but there is actually something wrong with how people are approaching using systems like human design. You can't go from knowing, like just learning something from a video like this or a post on Insta or whatever, wherever you're getting the knowledge from. You can't just pay for knowledge and then think that that knowledge is going to actualize into change. It's just not going to happen, because it's a right situation, right? It's a right situation. Like, I'm going to pay for a course and learn human design and change my life. Right. Mm-hmm. And I know I might sound like a bit of a party pooper, and for some people, there may be a degree of like awareness that sets off like, oh my gosh, yes, this makes so much sense. But guys, what I'm here to do, and what I'm here to actually continue and carry on, is to carry on the true teaching that is, we are dealing with subtraction, not addition of knowledge. We are dealing with returning the power of decision making back to the body, which, before I jumped down the bloody deep rabbit hole of human design and gene keys, which is a huge rabbit hole, and I've been doing it for over 3 years now. They're like, we are talking about returning authority, power, trust back to the body. Now, let me just take you down a slight rabbit hole just right here. What we're talking about diving into the unknown. We're talking about taking all of the the power, like taking the power, the trust, the reliance on our mind and our conditioning, and we're going, you know what? Now this system makes so much sense that we're not going to do that. I'm going to take all of that power and I'm going to give it to the body, which I don't fucking know what it's going to do on any given day. Like, people aren't just going to do that. Like, do you understand? Returning the power back to the body, there takes some work to do that. But everyone's into human design and learning it and knowing it and adding all this knowledge in. But not a lot of people are actually embodying it and have actually embodied it, meaning like come through the proper rites of passage and embodying it and living it, and therefore truly actualizing and alchemizing and monetizing. Those fucking words wouldn't even exist. They don't really exist once you go through the proper rites of passage. But when we set out to approach these systems to get, these are the words like actualize, alchemy, because we want to get something from it. So it's that attitude of getting, that's kind of how it comes in. And there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just when we come through the other way, which I'm going to take us, when we come around this side and approach the systems with, in this way, and go through the right, the proper rites of passage, there's just a difference in energy, right? There's a difference in energy, which we're going to go through now. Now, the reason why I've got right on this side is because let's just talk about Bobby. Let's just talk about Bobby for a second. Bobby hears about this human design thing and wants to go and learn about it. So Bobby comes to learn about human design again and acquire this knowledge, awareness, okay? And Bobby is liking what she reads and can see potential, and all of us, being human, wants to create something with it, wants to do something with it, wants to create change with it. And the guide who is introducing Bobby to human design tells Bobby that they're going to need to, look at the ways in which they are conditioned, which means looking at the ways in which they don't want to be seen in the world. And Bobby's like, yeah, right, I didn't sign up for this. That is a common response. People, this thing called human design and gene keys, they are powerful modalities when you do the work, right? When you do the work, which is the acceptance work, which can be called shadow work, which can be called, healing, parts integration, right? It's got many names, but essentially it is accepting ourselves. It's feeling. It's about, there's feeling involved here. There's emotion. You can't learn this system. You got to feel the system in your body. And that's the part that we have to go through in order to come through to actualizing from a place of embodied, meaning like you've gone through the feeling, you've gone through the acceptance part, you've gone through the rite of passage, and you're whole, right? You haven't bypassed, which bypassed would be this way, trying to skip, not trying to, but being unaware and also trying to skip the acceptance piece and just kind of go from learning it to creating, which is, it's just an illusion. I'll need to get some different colors going here, but if you try and come this way, for example, it's disembodied, it's disingenuous, it's energy doesn't match up with alchemy. You know what I mean? Energy doesn't match up with alchemy. It's going to take a lot of force. It's going to take a lot of pushing. There's not going to be a lot of ease. It's going to be disingenuous, disembodied. It's going to be from the mind. This is the side of them. This is the mind, right? Which, remember what I said, going back to what this is all about, this is about returning the power, the decision-making powers and authorities back to the body. Yeah, this side is the body, right? And when we come this way, we are coming through the body. We are actually doing the work. And when we do that, when we make ourselves whole and we go through these rites of passage, then when we end up here, Okay, we're creating, we're actualizing, we're alchemizing, we're monetizing, if that's what we're into, from a place of genuine embodiment of ourselves. Yeah, of ourselves. So that's the difference. And these are the processes that we need to go through, or the rites of passage. So one is, let me just summarize for us. We've got to come through. We're going to get that awareness, like watching videos like this, we gain that awareness. Then we need to take what we're learning and try it on, verify it, work with it, understand, like almost become devoted to ourselves using this way of living. And then this just comes naturally. That all just comes naturally. The alchemy process just comes naturally by doing these two things. So don't try and come this way, right? It's disingenuous. It's from the mind. It's just the mind trying to bypass, what you got to actually do to make yourself whole. Come this way, all right? Come this way, get help, get guidance. And that's why, for example, projectors, we are guides, right? And we guide people through this process, right? That's exactly our role in humanity, is to guide people through this process of understanding and accepting ourselves deeper. So those are our rites of passage. Yeah, and again, I teach these modalities. Let me stop sharing. Things. I teach these modalities because the alternative is that it's one shoe fits all. Okay, it's us trying to do things the way that we see people doing them in the world, and they're not working for us, and then we get frustrated, we get angry, we get bitter, we just get bucked off, and it's not fair, and it's not right, because I have proof, and from my own experience and working with others, that when we learn how to operate, communicate, move in the world the way that we were energetically designed to, those things that we've tried over and over and over before, when we do them again with the knowledge and the acceptance work around who we are as a unique individual, it works. It works. We're able to communicate, we're able to move, we're able to function and show up in the world as our unique self. And yet, the reason why I'm showing you these rites of passages today is because in order to live that design, we do need to do some work around what the ways that are already in place. And you could say it's like changing over government. It is actually, it's a shift, it's a changing of guard, it's a changing of government inside of ourselves. The parts, the stories, the history of us and our conditioning. And it's a changing of guard, it's a changing of government, and that, and then and there's consequences to that. There are effects, and plainly put, the government, the entity in place at the moment, the mind doesn't want to change that guard. It's like, why are you trying to change what is not broken, apparently? And we're like, yeah, well, we just learned human design and it works, and it's working for these people, and we want to do it. And the mind's like, are you dumb? Like, are you crazy? And will make you feel crazy. And I'm going to go into the ways in which the mind will make you feel crazy. And that's a series for another day, but that's going into the energy centers. So we're not going to do that today, but I'll give an overview, and then I'll go into each of the energy centers to just show you how the mind gets, like, makes you think you're crazy, gaslights you, because it thinks you're doing something unsafe, which technically you might be, right? Which is it thinks you're running away with the circus, right? You're about to, it's like you've got this life and everything's been like working, you've stayed alive, and then all of a sudden you learn human design, gene keys, uniqueness, meet this chick called Jade, and all of a sudden you want to run away with the circus, sell sell everything up, throw in all your responsibilities and be a hippie and join the circus. That's what your mind is thinking you're up to. And it's like, what are you doing? And is going to send all of its power after you to be like, no, we're not doing this. And understanding how those stories start to form and where those are coming from in your energy centers, very useful. But for today, the messages, this is the rite of passage. It's very similar to the hero's journey or the heroine's journey, if you've heard of those modalities, where there are steps you have to take and you can't bypass them. So I'm going to leave that there. If you have any comments, leave them. I check them periodically. Otherwise, hunt me